Hey, and welcome to The Explainer. You ever set a huge goal, you're super motivated, and then a few weeks later, it's all gone? Well, today we're going to dive into James Clear's Atomic Habits and look at a totally different way of thinking about it. Building a system that makes you 1% better every single day, almost on autopilot.
So let's kick things off with this really powerful, kind of counterintuitive idea. We're always told that if you want massive success, you need to take massive action. But what if that's just wrong? The whole point of Atomic Habits is that real, lasting change doesn't come from one giant leap. It comes from the compound effect of hundreds of tiny, everyday choices. Time is the great amplifier here. It will literally multiply whatever you feed it. For good habits, that makes time your best friend. For bad ones, well, it becomes your worst enemy.
All right, so let's dig into the power of 1%. I mean, what does getting just a tiny bit better every day actually add up to? The numbers might surprise you. This is where it gets kind of mind-blowing. If you get just 1% better each day, by the end of the year, you're not just a little better, you're over 37 times better. But here's the scary part. The reverse is also true. If you get 1% worse each day, you basically slide all the way down to zero. It's just a crazy reminder that these little, seemingly insignificant choices we make every day are what really, truly define where we end up. And this difference in where you end up is way more dramatic than you might think. The book has this awesome analogy. Imagine you're on a plane flying from Los Angeles to New York City. Now, if the pilot just changes the heading by 3.5 degrees south, a tiny shift you would never even feel, you don't land in New York anymore. You land in Washington, D.C. And that's exactly how your habits work. A small, consistent nudge can send you to a completely different destination in your life. Okay, so here's the trap. You start making these 1% improvements, right? But for weeks, maybe even months, you see nothing. It feels like you're not making any progress at all. This is what James Clear calls the valley of disappointment. It's this super frustrating period where your hard work hasn't broken through yet. And honestly, this is the exact moment most of us give up, thinking all that effort was for nothing. But it wasn't. And the book gives the perfect way to think about this: an ice cube. Imagine you have an ice cube in a cold room, and you slowly start to raise the temperature. 26 degrees, still an ice cube. 28 degrees, still frozen solid. 31, nothing. Then you hit 32 degrees and bang, breakthrough. You get a change. Now here's the key takeaway. All the work you did to get from 26 to 31 degrees wasn't wasted. It was just being stored. That final 1-degree shift didn't do all the work. It just unlocked all the potential that was already built up. So we get why small habits are so important, but how do they actually work? What's going on under the hood? Let's break down the hidden engine behind every single thing we do automatically. Turns out every habit you have, the good, the bad, all of them, follows this exact same 4-step pattern. First, there's a cue, something that triggers your brain to get the ball rolling. That cue creates a craving, which is the motivation, the desire to act. That craving then leads to the response, which is the actual habit itself. And finally, you get a reward. The reward satisfies that craving and, more importantly, tells your brain, hey, remember this loop? Let's do it again. This whole thing runs on autopilot, shaping most of our day. Let's make this super real. Your phone buzzes, that's the cue. You immediately feel that little ping of wanting to know who texted you, that's the craving. You pick up the phone and read it, that's the response, and the feeling of relief or curiosity satisfied, that's your reward. That little loop is precisely why checking our phones becomes so automatic, so addictive. So now that we know what the loop is, the fun part begins. We can actually learn to control it. And this brings us to the real, practical playbook from the book, The 4 Laws of Behavior Change. Think of it as a toolkit for building good habits and, just as importantly, for breaking bad ones. These 4 laws are like simple levers we can pull to redesign our habits. If you want to create a good habit, you just follow the laws. Make the cue obvious, the craving attractive, the action easy, and the reward satisfying. And if you want to break a bad habit, you just flip them. Make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. Simple as that. Okay, law number 1, make it obvious. A really powerful way to do this is a technique called habit stacking. Instead of just hoping you'll remember to do a new habit, you piggyback it onto a habit you already have. So a vague goal like, I'll meditate more, becomes, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. See? Your existing coffee habit becomes the perfect, unmissable cue for the new one.
Now for Law 2, make it attractive. For this, we can use something called temptation bundling. There's this great story about a student who loved watching Netflix, but knew he needed to exercise more. So what did he do? He literally hooked up his exercise bike to his laptop so that Netflix would only play if he was pedaling at a certain speed. He bundled what he wanted to do, watch Netflix, with what he needed to do, exercise. He made a habit he dreaded totally irresistible.
Law number 3, make it easy, is where we find the brilliant 2-minute rule. The idea is you shrink any new habit down until it takes less than 2 minutes to start. So run 3 miles just becomes put on my running shoes. Read a book before bed becomes read 1 page. The point here isn't to just do the easy thing. It's to master the art of just showing up. Because hey, anyone can put on their shoes. And once you've started, momentum often takes care of the rest. And finally, we have Law 4, make it satisfying. Here's the problem. Our brains are wired for right now. We want instant gratification, but the rewards of good habits, like getting fit or learning a skill, are often way off in the future. So we need to find a way to feel good now. Enter the paperclip strategy. A stockbroker would start his day with 2 jars on his desk, one full of 120 paperclips, the other empty. After every single sales call he made, he'd move 1 paperclip over. That small, visual act of progress gave him an immediate hit of satisfaction, which wired his brain to want to do it again. Okay, so we've covered all the tactics, but now we're getting to what is, for me, the most profound idea in this entire book. The real goal of building habits isn't just about what you get, it's about who you become. This idea, seriously, it changes everything. Think about it. Every time you go to the gym, you're not just exercising. You're casting a vote for the identity, I'm a healthy person. Every time you sit down and write 1 page, you're casting a vote that says, I am a writer. Your habits are how you literally embody the identity you want. The whole focus shifts from the result you want to achieve to the person you want to be. So, which approach do you think is more powerful? If your goal is outcome-based, say, run a marathon, what happens after you cross the finish line? For a lot of people, the motivation just disappears. But if your goal is identity-based, to become a runner, well, that's a whole different game. You're not just training for one event, you're living out who you are. And that is what makes habits stick for good. And that's really the heart of it all. This isn't just a book about productivity hacks. It's about intentional self-creation. Your habits aren't just things you do. They're literally the building blocks of the person you are becoming, one tiny action at a time. So the question I'll leave you with is this. Are the votes you're casting every single day building the person you truly want to become? Thanks for tuning into The Explainer.